Yeah, no, I literally only knew one guy that had a Zune, a Microsoft Zune, and it's so funny too because it sounds like a terrible villain name from like a '70s science fiction film.
Yeah, it's a very bad. It's a very ugly name, like Zune. Just saying it is weird and awkward. Um, it's very it's very odd. Yeah, it never took off, really, did it?
It really did not know.
I don't know how he. Oh yeah, we're making fun of Bill Gates. So what's
Yeah.
been going on in the world this week? The world's been kind of. I heard today, like we're recording this Monday, so as of today, like Tucker Carlson was like let go from like Fox News, and then Don Lemon was like let go from CNN. Like, whoa, that's kind of crazy, man. I mean, like I'm dancing too. I'm glad to have that nut off the air. Um, I can't believe they finally got rid of him.
I know, and it
I
was
wonder what happened, man.
it only took 80 mil or no, not 80 million, $800 million in a lawsuit.
Is that how much that Dominion is suing them for?
Well, okay, so how you sue someone is you sue at an astronomically high number and then you like kind of like, go down in price, kind of like if you
To
start.
settle?
Yeah, exactly. It's like an auction, you start high and then you work your way down to figure out like, where the good middle ground is.
Uh huh. No, for sure.
So they were suing Fox for $1.6 billion. Okay?
1.6.
$1 billion. Billion. That's a billion.
That's a huge number to start at, man. But I mean, I respect it.
Yeah, but then,
I respect.
Fox decided to just pay out in court and settle instead of like fight it. And they just decided on a much more lower, reasonable number for them. And Dominion's like, okay, 800 million, that's fine. We can take that and go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a small number. Oh my god, that's insane. I can't believe they have that much money to just be like, yeah, we'll settle for that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, because Fox News generates like an annual, like, I don't know if net worth is the right word, but like,
Profit, maybe, you mean?
profit, yes, of $20 billion a year.
Oh, that explains why they're so big. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
That's kind of huge, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, so I'm just like $20 billion a year, and you can't
That's kind of
spare.
scares me that they're that successful. That's dangerous, man. I mean, like, oh my god. Oh wow. Oh wow.
Yeah, that's insane to me. Because keep in mind,
that's
people.
why they're very influential. That's crazy.
Yeah, just think of how much like $1 million is to a normal person. It's a
Yeah,
thousand.
no, that's a it's you'd have to have like 999,999,999 dollars, then you add $1. That's how you get to a billion. Um, Still a lot of money, man. It's that's a huge number. But that's just like that shows how much influence they have, and like I'm not saying like CNN's any better per se. It's all kind of like biased media and stuff, and that's kind of the problem. It's all been sensationalized, and it's all this sort of spectacle now and stuff, and that's kind of annoying, and I hate it.
Yeah,
That's like the problem with like today. But I mean, Fox News is especially just like making conspiracy theories where people go out and like hurt other people and like do stupid shit. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
there's dumb movements about like, oh, feminist M&Ms, or fucking they probably pushed a lot of stuff about they pushed a lot about the drag queen stuff too, right? About these like stories of making up that drag queens are somehow dangerous inherently, and all that sort of blah blah blah, transphobic shit.
yeah. Which is
It's
like
interesting,
so.
man.
It's so dumb. I mean, there is some reasonable like limits to what how you teach kids in school about like sex and whatnot and where you should start at a certain age, but like overall, there hasn't really been a problem up until this made up problem now amongst like these certain conservative types, which sucks. It's like, why? You're literally fighting and arguing over nothing.
Yeah, and it's not even like a common thing. It's like a I don't know. They get these anecdotes and they make it like into such a dangerous thing, and that feeds into viewers and Congress people. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene is such a fucking cancer on that floor, man. She's so horrible. I fucking hate her, man. She just spreads stupid shit
I
and stands
know.
by the stupid shit. And
She's like Mitt Romney if he was a raging racist.
Yeah, or like a crackhead. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, like Mitt
it's just
Romney
all
like
these
flipped
dangerous conspiracies.
because he flip flopped back and forth back in the day when he was trying to run for president. So it's like it's watching the same thing happen with Marjorie Taylor Greene, except just very aggressive with the groups that she does not like. So
Yeah, just very interesting, man. I don't know. It's like
yeah, it's fascinating.
it's bad. It's all man. The world really sucks sometimes. But
But you get highlights like this, Tucker Carlson getting fired from Fox
this
News.
is a highlight. This is a good thing. This is a very good
Exactly.
thing. It's a step in the right direction. Now just get Hannity and like all those other schmucks.
Right.
Um,
And fucking because of that, like Twitter's been making the rounds by bringing up that one clip of like Jon Stewart from the Daily Show roasting the fuck out of Tucker Carlson back in like 2004.
oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's
I'm pretty
amazing.
sure I've seen that clip, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. There's been a lot of times that like Jon Stewart's called out like mainstream like news people, you know.
Yeah, especially Fox News because I think this is paraphrasing, but he said something along the lines of like it's painful to like watch you guys debate on your show. It's like it's just theater, is what it is.
Hmm.
And it's like, please, actually, like, have a serious discussion for once. Please, I'm begging you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jon Stewart's very good at clowning on people.
Yeah. We
He's
can tell
he's
he, like, dies a little bit on the inside because it's almost like a Jesus Christ type thing. He's, like, sacrificing his own sanity to pull the mask off of these fucking schmucks.
Yeah, I haven't seen full episodes of his show, The Problem, but I see clips on Twitter floating around, and these things that go viral where he's like deconstructing people's, arguments and stuff in a meaningful way, and like and making good points, and we all know where he leans, but I'm sort of socially left. You know what I mean? That's very much my policy. I'm also very economically left. I'm very left. Just give everyone everything. It's like whatever, dude.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to all have this structure of like. Anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna get on my soapbox again about that, about my anti-capitalist rants, but
Well, no, I believe in the same things. It's just I believe in like a handout if there actually is like payoff in return. Like an investment type thing.
yeah, you want them to be productive in some capacity, you know what I mean? And maybe those who can't be productive, we should still care for, you know what I mean? I think a lot about how we have access to all this knowledge of like how to treat each other, and then we still treat each other like shit, you know what I mean? It's like some people
Yeah.
don't have that awareness of like empathy. Maybe that's probably like part of the problem.
Well, I think like the
Uh,
key thing about like what makes Americans so scared of socialism is like the whole like true social aspect of it, like helping each other out, and actually thinking one as like a group instead of like just individually for each other. Like a well-oiled machine moving the society, as it goes.
right, yeah, just helping out people, making sure everyone's taken care of, providing your services for those who need access to it. It's
Yeah,
like I don't know, man. It's just something basic. It's like just be kind to each other.
yeah. Because say what
But I
you
mean,
want about this country, like its highs and its lows, at the end of the day, there is a very cutthroat nature in this country when it comes to success. So,
well, that's the nature of capitalism, man. That's the danger of it too, and that's sort of like part of the problem with all these news networks. Vladimir Lenin once put it like all over the world, wherever there are capitalists, freedom of the press means freedom to buy up newspapers, to buy writers, um, to bribe, to buy, and fake public opinion for the benefit of the bourgeoisie. And so it's like it's all about this point about um, uh, if money provides freedom and power, and the pursuit of that in a capitalist system where it's kind of like where that's put at the most value, it allows for mistreatments of the public and manipulation of information, and there's some truth to that because we see that, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
a lot of media companies are owned by like just a few handful of people,
yeah,
and they tell us all the shit and give us all the stories to then feed into ourselves and get an idea, get a perception of what's going on in the world. And that's kind of dangerous, man. That's kind of dangerous that we're all getting different forms of information. But that's kind of the nature of like I think with the internet too, and like the constant need for content.
Yeah.
You got to just make stuff that's attention grabbing, even if it's not real. You know what I mean?
Well, that's because this particular society that we live in the United States, is bred to believe that you are special. Like, that you are universally special and that you are the most important thing there is out there. It's like, not really. Like, 99% of people is not that special, okay? They are pretty fucking basic as fuck. They are interesting to some degree, but once you actually let go of that kind of like self-centered kind of thinking and just think, there's other people that I affect in this world, you know, I should just try and be a better person. Like, that's just all it is. Like, instead of putting
Yeah.
value in like meaningless bullshit like the dollar and whatnot, put more value in other people, and then you get some value out of that.
Yeah, and very much your value becomes attached to this monetary component and like how much we make and how much we provide and how much we produce. And I mean, like, I think everyone is an individual and everyone should be valued. But really, we aren't that much different, man. We're all kind of like need the same basic things, care and safety.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy, and just it's easy to be nice to somebody. Um, but yeah, and I think like yeah, I don't know, man. It's all just it's a message that's been told for 2,000 years, and Jesus got killed for it. And you know what, man? That's cool. And so did Martin Luther King Jr. and
Yeah.
so did Gandhi, he was assassinated. And then yeah, all the people who are just like be nice, we've killed them. I think we're pretty. It's pretty hard for us to reach an awareness and understanding of each other that's that well to where we're not killing the nice guys. You know what I mean? Like leave it
Yeah.
be. But I don't know, man.
And
I
that
mean,
kind of goes hand in hand with the whole like self-centered, like, I'm special, I can do no wrong type thing, cuz you see it a lot now in the news with like people just trying to rewrite history. It's like, oh, like racism is not a like serious problem. It's like, no, it kind of is. Like, America has been trashed for like a long, long time. They're just
yeah, just like look at
little
the
like
history and get out of your own ass, man.
exactly. There's been like little moments here and there where we're like, oh fuck yeah, like we actually are awesome, but it's very few. It's like commercial like moments in just a unimaginable history of bullshit and just
No, don't get me
terrible
wrong.
things.
Don't get me wrong. I think there's a lot of great things. I think we dog a lot on America, and I will say this. I think there's a lot of revolutionary ideas for the time. Now, the hypocrisy carried by the men who thought of those ideas was a little funny, to say the least.
Yeah.
Maybe not so funny for black people, but like, the idea is that like all men are created equal, and these Bill of Rights of like all these, we have the right to freedom of speech, to freedom of the press, freedom of expression, and these rights, shall not be like ever like taken away. This idea of people having a God given right to something that was new at the time. That was
Yeah.
new, and that was revolutionary. And I think like the way that we had won our Revolutionary War that inspired France to do their revolution,
Exactly.
and then it's so on and so forth. And so it's like it's all fantastic. And there were some great thinkers at the time. Now, don't get me wrong, they still had slaves. You know what I mean? It was like it was
Yeah.
not. There was a great hypocrisy there of all men are created equal, and then you got like a guy in chains who, if you don't do as you say, you're gonna hurt him. You know what I mean? That's like kind of like that's kind of goes against it. That's the great hypocrisy. So I will say like we just need to reconcile with that. We can
Yeah.
recognize the great qualities of these very influential men, but we have to recognize they were also horrible racists. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's. And that's how it's been. It's been very ingrained too, ever since we've kind of made that determination of like this group of people because of the color of the skin are somehow inferior, and we're going to treat them that way. And then we build systems around that because that never goes away. It gets fed into generation after generation, man. And
Yeah.
people become they internalize that, and then like and so, 100 years after the American Revolution, we freed the slaves, and then less than 100 years after that, we had the civil rights movement, where we give them the right to vote finally, and like to actively participate in the system in some capacity, and then we still trivialize them, and now there's like, well, it's always been there's a lot of like black men being killed by cops. It's not very good. It's not a good look for the PD at all. It's not a
Yeah.
good practice. it's all just very it's all very systemic, and we have to just reconcile such a dissonance, such a group cognitive dissonance. It's just it's interesting, man.
Yeah, no, it's
To not be able to, but it's nature of man, right? Of humans, I should say,
yeah.
not just one gender or sex. Everybody, it's everybody included. I think one of the great challenges is that we're limited by our own perspective, and our own perspective. We can only think based off of what we know and we've experienced, right? And our experience is very different from the experience of the other person. I mean, you and I, we're talking about this sort of thing, but we haven't had the same issues as individuals we're talking about. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, all of my interactions, while I've been nervous around the cops, they've never once had me, worried that I might get hurt in the interaction. Um, for just moving too quick or doing anything, and I've always tried to mitigate that as well. But again, I'm because of just the system and because of the color of my skin, I'm not at huge risk for that. They're not going to like be too on edge. It's very different for people of color, and so we're limited by that experience, and that's sort of the thing I think is why people can't empathize is because they don't have that knowledge or that experience, for sure.
No, that's 100% facts. Yeah. And also to anyone who thinks we're just dogging on America, like we are a very young country when you think of the perspective of our nation's founding and then where we're at today versus every other nation in the world, okay? Like look to Europe and you will find a number of genocides and wars based on where you're from, nationality wise, or based on what religion you follow. Guaranteed, you will find some fucked up shit up there.
Yeah, there's always a human who's gonna there's always profit, and that's again another issue of capitalism and monetization is there's profit in hurting people, which is
Yeah.
like that's why there's a global military industrial complex, and that's why like private prisons are a huge thing, and why there's so many prisons built. Mistreating humans is a very easy way to make a quick dollar, dude. It's no bueno, dude. I mean, like slaves were cheap labor, and
Yeah.
there's still a slave trade today. Um, um, I'm sure they're cheap. It's all about maximizing the dollar, and you can do that through hurting people, and so that's sort of the choice that people make. Um, which that's not obviously the good choice. We want to like we said earlier in this episode we want to maximize joy and minimize suffering.
Yeah, no, this country pretty much still has slavery. We just traded out, Africans for Asian immigrants and Mexican immigrants. That's just no cap, 100% truth.
And then we also, I mean, prison they slavery's still legal as long as they're like a criminal. You know what I mean? Like, and now we've
Yeah,
determined people as criminals and mostly people of color, um, and so those individuals will be doing labor. You know what I mean? They'll
yeah.
be doing labor for cheap or for nothing at all, just because they've committed a crime, and that's really just bad. It's bad practice. I'm not for it. And I mean, I was talking to my friend about this yesterday. Is like criminalizing someone for drugs is like I'm generally, I mean, I think like I think if someone is caught using, right, like if it's an illicit substance,
Yeah.
they should be kind of rushed to treatment and not punishment because that model obviously hasn't worked for the last, you know, 50 years of the war on drugs, and
Yeah, because
so
currently drugs is still winning.
yeah, currently drugs is still doing well. There's still drugs,
Yeah.
and they're only getting it's not hitting the economic component, which is the supply and demand. And as long as you knock out the demand by getting people sober and clean, then there'll be an abundance of supply, and no one will want to sell it because it'll just be for super cheap. It won't be worth anything.
Yeah, that's just how it is. Like,
That's just basic economics.
funny enough, for a country that like prides itself on like economic freedoms and whatnot, it really doesn't understand base level economics.
Yeah, being one of the richest countries on earth, they don't understand how to stop the drug trade. But anyway, so
You got
but
fucking stock bros trying to tell me what's invested. I'm like, fuck you. Like, no.
Chat GPT, bro, to help you get stocks.
Oh my god.
That actually be kind of dope. But anyhow, so but then also the issue is that I do think about it, right? Is like for people who do like meth, it's like they kind of like go off the rails and can be really violent. So it's like they might need to be in jail for a little bit. You know what I mean? But it's also like it's a crisis of mental health. So have them in there for a bit and assess them and determine if it's a crisis for mental health and like get them to the right resources. I used to do this for a living, so I have a very different perspective than
Yeah.
my friend. I used to like provide treatment to people who were like getting out of jail and prison and stuff, um, which is cool. I enjoyed that work. It's taxing, but it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, as
And
it
it's
should
I think
be.
it's yeah, and I think it's worthwhile. You know what I mean? Like excuse me a second. Got my ear itches, which is odd. But anyway, so so yeah, I don't know, but it's definitely not. It's definitely drugs are winning the war right now. It's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, weed's legal. Psilocybin's decriminalized in some parts of like, I think in like Oakland and like stuff. It's like crazy.
Yeah, just open up like clinics to help people get off of like hardcore drugs like opiates and like methamphetamines, and then boom, you'll win the war on drugs. Less cops, more treatment centers. Like Jesus
Well,
Christ.
yeah. So it's like it's something that Switzerland did in the 70s or the 80s. They had a really bad crisis with like HIV rates and opioid deaths, overdoses. And so what they did was to address the problem. They opened up safe injection sites where clinics where people can go to get clean needles and good heroin and get dosaging, and so they're not like overdosing. And they also get connected with social workers there. So when they want to get sober, they can get someone who links them with resources and gets them a job and gets them reintegrated into the community, and doesn't just jail them and then release them on probation. Have them have a permanent record that keeps them from employment, housing, and other opportunities, and keep them in the system, going out in and out. That's a great system we've developed here in America. What a great job!
Yeah, it's amazing. Oh god, I don't
It's
know what to say.
amazing the difference that providing care and treatment and compassion, that Jesus taught about to those in need, those suffering. I wonder what a wonder that can do for a person. I don't.
Yeah, I
It's
guarantee.
baffling. I don't know what we're gonna do about it, but it's something to be said.
I guarantee you that people who don't want to deal with homeless people, period, just want to outright say, let's just fucking kill them, but they're not going to say that because that's just inhuman.
No, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very unfair, man. Yeah, and
Yeah.
the homeless too, especially like people are like, oh, we got to fix that problem, we got to fix that, but like people shoot them away. There's a practice of like there's places that are card only in like downtown San Jose that they don't take cash because they don't want homeless people coming in and using like their bathroom or like buying their stuff and taking up the space because they're obscenely they stink, blah blah blah. Um, which like for the business point, I get it, but like I don't stand for business. I stand for human beings. You know what I mean? So like it's a, I saw a guy last Thursday last week on 420. He was just standing outside of 7-Eleven. I walk out after buying my Red Bulls, and he's like, "Hey man, can you spot a guy for some chicken?" And I was like, "You hungry?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah." And I was like, "Yeah, man, I got you." I could tell he was homeless. It's like, or maybe he was hustling. I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah, you never know.
I don't feel to ask if the guy's in need and I can help out. Probably his first meal of the day. He got some soda too and stuff, and I was like, "Sweet man, cool." He was a happy camper, and we carried on our way. It was cool. And and it's all about just like helping out people, man. Just giving a lending hand when you can, dude. And like when I used to smoke cigarettes, people would like homeless people would be. I'd be walking like in town and like I'd be like sparking one up, and they'd be like, "Oh, like can I have one?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I got you." And like that's
Yeah.
gonna like help carry them through their night. It's just like about like just showing compassion, man, and like listening to people and stuff. It's not that hard to do. I make so many friends at the bar, which is kind of my problem. I was standing out and having to smoke some weed on Friday night, and then and this guy comes out and he's like, "Oh, anyone got a light?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, here you go, man." And like I had finished my joint, and so like he pulls out like some cigarillos, so we had those, and we were just talking. I was just chatting him up and like hearing about his life story. He was drunk, but it's all about just like helping people in the moment, being present with them, man. It's a valuable thing. It's really I think if there's I think two of the things that would really solve a lot of like the world's problems are like access to good and affordable healthcare and access to good and affordable education. You know what I mean? Like that's going to do numbers on like helping people feel better about themselves and about their world and their environment, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be sweet.
Yeah, like 100%. I would go back to college if I didn't feel like I'd be wasting money just bumming around trying to figure myself out. If it was, you know, preferably free and paid for by taxes, like I could actually just go there and actually truly figure myself out and know what I want to do, you know?
Yeah, and like it would provide so much more opportunity for people to get education and stuff. It's like it's just it shouldn't be. The only reason it costs is because of racism. It's like when Reagan was still the governor of California before he was the president, he this was in the late '60s, so it was at the height of the civil rights movement. He instituted tuition because he wanted to keep quote undesirables out of schools.
Yikes.
So it was to keep low income black people from being able to attend university and getting degrees and being on the same level as the white man.
No.
And see, that's the problem with America is that any issue you can find in the system, you could trace back to some racist bullshit. Could trace back to some. It's terrible, dude. Low income neighborhoods. That's because of redlining.
Yeah, no, there was like a legalization of weed back in like the
late 20s, right?
Yeah, the late 30s actually, and the reason why was because they thought if you smoked weed, white women were more likely to hook up with black men.
Oh yeah, and it was also like that. It was there was a story of some Hispanic guy who smoked a bunch of weed and like murdered and went psychotic and murdered his family. Which weed, for all the all the talk we have about it, for all the sort of positive light we shed on it, it can induce psychosis. So there's that, but it's not. The psychosis is rarely ever like violent. Really, I mean, verbally aggressive, sure. Like physically, that's only if they're on meth. And so, usually, and so yeah, it's all about these like stories, and then like they attach it to race because they call it marijuana, so it's like south of the border. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's a dangerous Latino, and I'm sure in those days they were also saying, certain things about him that the Man in Orange had said.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah, this country sucks, dude. But just good to it. I enjoy living here, and California's I think my favorite. I love being here. I'll get to see Memphis next week. Oh god, I'm flying out next Thursday. Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. So I'll just talk about that in two. No, we'll have to skip an episode. I'll talk about that in 2 episodes from now. But yeah, America's got. It's just got to reconcile with it, and we just have to be aware of it. It's okay to like. We don't have to dwell on it. We just have to like recognize like, yeah, we did some shit. Let's course correct a little bit. You know what I mean? It's not that. I don't know, man. I mean, it's like statistically, like, it doesn't matter if like a black guy has like a bachelor's degree, he would still make less than a white man who doesn't have one.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, it's like really horrendous, dude. It's unfair. It's not good, man. That's systemic. But so anyway,
this is just like Jeff Carlin's 1993, you know?
Yeah, for real. Man, it is what it is. So it's just, but it's all the people. It's people having their limited perspective is why they won't see the point to it. And I get that. I can respect that because it's all about like everyone's feelings are valid, but like sometimes we don't validate each other, and like that's the problem.
What?
Like we need to each just recognize like, look, you've had a different experience than I have. Like I try to always keep that open mind with my clients. Like some of them have been through like some shit that I couldn't even imagine being through half of that shit. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, I partially blame mostly like this absolute that we deal with, where there's got to be like heroes and villains, bad guys and good guys, like
in group out group kind of thinking. Yeah
you can't think like that. You have to think as everything in like lines of gray, like to to it's okay to acknowledge that your country is shit and that it has its problems, but you don't have to dwell on it. You can actually like learn from that and become better. Like you stop dealing in absolutes, like, then it's so much better. It's so much easier to live your life,
Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah.
not, it's not a problem, man, and that's just what some people are missing. It's very concerning that way. Um, but it's all about that development of empathy, and some people just struggle with empathy, and especially because we've got this such in-group out-group thinking, and especially attached to something as arbitrary as like the color of one's skin. It's very difficult. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Also, to stop thinking in absolutes and actually like think, oh, the complexity of certain situations, it allows one to actually think more and actually reason more. That's the key element that like could help a lot of people. Just think and feel a little bit more. In
mhm.
balance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
just be a little. You don't have to understand like everyone's what's going on with everyone, but you can like just validate that everyone's having a human experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just that's all you got to do.
Yeah. That's all you got to do. On that side note, I actually went out and saw Renfield.
Oh yeah, Redfield. How was that, man?
It was good. It was cheesy as fuck. Like, way cheesier than I thought it was going to be. Even based on the reviews, too. But I saw it and I enjoyed it. It was actually really good.
Nice. It was very camp.
Very camp. Like, I do enjoy a cheesy movie if it's not too cheesy.
Mm-hmm. Salute.
Thank you. Yeah, like, this one, it rides the perfect fine line of, like, good cheese, almost bad cheese. Almost. Just, like, this
Mm-hmm.
close. This close. But it was good. It was very good. I liked it.
Nice, man. I saw Evil Dead Rise last night. That was kind of crazy.
Holy fuck! Tell me about that because I've heard nothing but good things about that.
Oh my god, it was really good. It was really well put together. I love how tight knit the story is. It's like it all just happens in the apartment building. Most of it, there's like a beginning that happens on the lake, and that'll be explained later. It was a really sweet movie. Oh, it was
Wow.
fun. It was both horrific, scary, gory, and then like funny at points, and like kind of camp. Like it's so it follows like uh, there's this um, there's this family. It's the single mom with three kids, and they live in a tall apartment building. Her sister um, is like a music technician, and so she's been on the road and stuff. And so she comes over to her sister's place unannounced and just kind of hangs out, and then there's an earthquake, and so the kid finds the Book of the Dead, which has like a bunch of incantations and shit, and has a record of a priest recording the incantation and releasing a demon, dude. And it's like, and the demon like takes over the mom, and that's the whole story. And it's like, oh, just insanity and horror, and just like the most insane shit just starts, and it's like it's nonstop from the beginning almost. Like in the first 10 minutes, you see a woman scalped. It's like just really intense, dude.
Jesus Christ.
It's really just it's some of it's hard to watch. But like it was really enjoyable. It was a really good movie. I will definitely watch it again now that I'm a little better prepared for it. I loved it. Super fun. Great ending. Yeah, it was just phenomenal. There were great performances from the two main women, and then like even the kids were pretty good. It was rad, man. I was super satisfied with it. I was super excited for it. I knew I was gonna be like super scared watching it, but it was
Yeah.
definitely super worth it. If you're a fan of like the Evil Dead series, you're gonna love this movie. It's very cool. Very very. I was hoping there was gonna be a cameo by Bruce Campbell, but there was not. He was an executive producer on it along with Sam Raimi, so that's good.
Yeah.
Um, oh, some of the shots were sick. The cinematography was great.
Nice.
The special effects were awesome. Like the visual effects were great. Oh, man, that movie was just. I can't recommend that enough. I kind of want to go watch that again.
Damn.
It was so sweet. But yeah, super fun movie. What else have I seen recently? I rewatched Nope. Nope is good.
It is. Yeah, I saw that I think like a month ago, and that was fantastic.
I
Like, oh
forgot
my
how good
god.
Kiki Palmer is in it. How good she is in it, and so is Daniel Kaluuya. And Stephen Yeun for the bits he's in. He's pretty
Yeah.
good. Um, they have such Kiki and Daniel have such great chemistry, and they're so much fun to see on screen together. Kiki's just like hilarious. She's like got such energy to herself. Um, but yeah, it's a great movie. That's enjoyable. I saw also. Oh yeah, last week. I think it was last week. Yeah. So I watched. So my lady and I went to go see Lord of the Rings. So
Return of the
Lords of
King,
the
right?
King extended edition in theater.
Nice.
Tuesday night we saw the Two Towers to prepare the extended edition, which was 4 hours long. And
Yeah.
then the Return of the King is 4.5 hours long, and we just sat there watching the movie. We camped out in the chair and just sat there, and there was a guy who had to get up 4 separate times. I was like, this guy has got a small bladder, um, which was kind of annoying, but like, no, it was fun. It was a fun experience. It's really magical seeing it in the theater, and I'm very glad I didn't fall asleep. I took like a rock star. I was like, I know I need to be awake for a little while. And not that it's like the movies put you to sleep, but they're very good comfort movies. They're very just easy to put on and watch, like in the background. I had it on in the background on Monday night, the first one, and just talking to my buddy Jack, and like my lady and I had it on the background like on Tuesday kind of, and then like Wednesday. I mean Wednesday we were like fully focused on the movie, but yeah, it was great. That was really fun. What other movies am I excited to see? I want to go see Renfield, so I'm glad that that was just fun. It's gonna be a fun movie. I'm also looking
Yeah.
forward to. I want to see Beau is Afraid. I've heard that's crazy, dude. I've heard that's like a very trippy movie.
Yeah, no, I feel like I need to see Midsummer before I go see that movie because then I will actually see all the Ari Aster films. Then in its holy trinity.
Mm-hmm. Air was good. I want to see that movie Chevaliers. It's about this like real life composer, this black guy like in France, um, in like the 1700s or whatever, right? And that sounds kind of cool. Um, so yeah, I
Yeah,
want to see that.
he's supposed to be like the best at like several different things, but I think they focus mostly on his like fencing, his dancing, and his music skills. When he was also a trained horseback rider, swimmer. Like he did a lot of great things.
Mm,
Yeah, in his short life, it's amazing.
very very fit guy, and
Yeah,
good for him. I definitely want to see that one. And then yeah, Beau is Afraid. I gotta see. We're gonna go see a special showing of like there's a play interpretation of Spirited Away that they've recorded and
ooh,
they're gonna be playing at the movie theater, which would be cool. The last time I went to go see kind of like a play of sorts was like there was a musical I saw with my ex from college. It was called Bandstand, and so it was like a musical. I think it was on Broadway, and they recorded it and they put it in the theater for a special showing, and it was a really good story. It's about like these World War II vets trying to start a big band in in the 40s, right after World War II, when they're coming back from that, and so they're dealing with the shell shock and other stuff. But yeah, it's a very good musical if you ever get a chance. I enjoyed it. So yeah, we'll be doing that this week, and then I think we're gonna try and shoot for a movie this coming weekend. Got to see what we're gonna do, but yeah, I
that
don't know
sounds like fun.
what other movies are there that's coming out. Let's see, or that are out.
Well, John Wick Chapter 4 is already out, and I talked about that. So
Yeah, I do want to. Yeah, I do want to see that one too. I haven't seen that yet.
the Pope's Exorcist, I kind of want to see, but I know that it's definitely more in the realm of like bad cheese. So I don't know if I want to go see that in theaters or just
Dude, they're
catch it.
doing a special showing of Return of the Jedi on Friday, dude.
What? When?
Um, Friday the 28th, man. It's for like the 40th anniversary.
I don't think I can catch that. I'm working then.
Oh, Sisu comes out this weekend. It's supposed to be some like really intense action movie.
I
Which I'm
finally saw a full trailer for that. I kept seeing like clips on YouTube, but I finally saw a full trailer with that. And our father was in the theater with us, and I think him and I and our sister Bianca are definitely going to go see that at some point because it is
Mhm.
balls to the wall insane.
Sweet, I gotta check it out.
So
There's also that movie, huh?
the premise is basically this Finnish farmer finds a pile of gold, and he's like, "I'm rich. but I got to exchange it into money, and the nearest place is like 50 miles away.
Uh-huh.
So he's like, oh, God, I got to move this gold. But it's 1944, so World War II is going on. A bunch of Nazis roll up and be like, oh, this fucking farmer has an amazing pile of gold, and we can just take it from him, because what the fuck is he going to do? Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, he's actually fucking John Wick, apparently. So he just fucking butchers them like Mad Max style. It's insane.
You said he's like a Finnish guy?
Yeah.
So he's Jan Wick.
He's Jan Wick. Oh my god. But yeah, no, it looks insane, and I have to go see this because it's somewhere between like John Wick, Mad Max Fury Road, and this like very obscure film that is very, very good actually. If you haven't heard of this film, people, go watch it. It's called Turbo Kid.
Turbo Kid, okay. What's
that
about?
It's kind of like a Mad Max universe, but everyone's riding bicycles instead of cars.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and the main character is this kid who's obsessed with like this superhero from a comic book, and turns out the comic book hero is actually real, so he gets his suit somewhere near the middle of the movie and then uses it to fight the bad guys.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good film, but it's an element of like just funny silliness that actually is like really awesome. It's just gratifying to see that kind of simple adventure.
Okay, sweet. I'll have to check it out, man. Hell yeah.
100%. But one movie that I just saw today actually was Zodiac from like 2007.
I have not ever seen that, but I want to. I've heard it's a very good movie.
It's good, but it is long. It is like 2 hours and 37 minutes, but it feels longer.
2.5 hours? Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, they cover everything from the case, including the Sherry Joe Bates murder, which has been heavily debated in, the true crime world on like who actually committed the murder, whether if it was the Zodiac Killer, another serial killer, or even the Manson family, because the timing is just right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the amount of suspects for the Zodiac Killer ranges from like, simple kind of folk that you can draw the connections to more obscure figures like a former member of the Manson family as the Zodiac Killer, or even the BTK killer himself as the Zodiac Killer.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the main reasoning for that is because both the Zodiac Killer and the BTK actually sent messages and taunted the police during the investigations, as well as the fact that there was no murders, after 1970 in San Francisco.
Mm.
And the letters stopped coming in 1974. And guess who pops up in 1974 all of a sudden?
BTK.
Exactly, in Kansas.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's a logical leap, but, still unsolved. And there's a lot of other good suspects, too. But, yeah, it's just a great film.
Wasn't one of the difficult parts of that, like, it was police departments weren't collaborating at that point from different precincts? That was exchange information?
That was a majority of major crimes cases back in the day. Like, that was for both Zodiac Killer, Ted Bundy, and the Night Stalker.
Oh, so they weren't able to connect these because these guys were doing these all over the place. I know Ted Bundy moved from, like, state to state, you know what I mean?
Exactly, and they had limited technology, and macho policemen didn't want to share any information, so he wasn't smart. It was just everyone was limited by their way of thinking and the technology they had available.
It was their tech and their hubris that got them.
Exactly, and
that got those women,
and what allowed him to keep going. But in the Night Stalker case, it was fascinating because his was only in Los Angeles. Only 2 of the killings were in San Francisco.
Oh, interesting.
But the reason why he got away with it for so long was because, A, he did it at night. B, if you cross like 3 blocks in Los Angeles, there's a whole different police department that covers that district.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awful, dude. Oh my god, what idiots, man. What fucking morons. They're like, this is in the name of justice, guys. You're cops, man. Exchange information.
And it wasn't even the fucking cops that caught him, too. It was average, everyday citizens that caught him.
Yep, of course they did. It was the same with Jeffrey Dahmer. They never responded to any of the issues, man. They never, fully got involved there. It was negligence, man.
Yeah, they even fucking two of the cops even joked about it. It's like, oh, it's just a domestic dispute between two guys, whatever. But
Hmm.
no, it's some fuck shit. It really was.
Yeah, good jobs, man.
But yeah, you're right. It's limited technology and hubris that fucks a lot of these cases up.
Yep, absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
God, it's a stacked cast.
They're all in there. Oh, sweet.
Yeah, you got 3 Marvel actors in there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio,
Yeah,
which he did a really great job. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. He's a good actor.
I still have
He's
not.
good. Huh?
I still have not seen that movie, but I 100% agree.
You've not seen Far From Home?
No,
Have you seen No Way Home?
I've seen No Way Home. I've seen Homecoming. I just haven't seen Far From Home.
I guess I mean there's no progress to the overall universe in that capacity, but I mean like it puts context. You got the ending spoiled pretty much when you watched Far From Home or No Way Home.
Well, I figured that was the end game. I mean, like, the standard Marvel villain practice is like if they're expendable enough, kill them at the end of the film. That's just how
And
it
then
is.
but then also the revealing of his identity. They did that at the end of Far From Home, so it's like
Yeah, so that was
they
a
left
shocker.
it a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that was a shocker, but I got over it pretty quick.
I'm sure you did. I enjoyed Far From Home. People kind of like complain that he's like Iron Man Jr. I think with like No Way Home, he kind of comes into his own and finally like becomes an independent Spider-Man, which is kind of how Spider-Man should be. He shouldn't have the support of all this tech. Um, but I mean, he's creative with it all, so like it's still Spider-Man, it's just a little help. And that's
Well,
what he does in the comics. He also like becomes the Iron Spider at one point. It's like
yeah, 100%. Like he is a capable Avenger. Like,
he's capable without the tech. He's capable with it. It's like it's and that's the character. But I mean, I can also understand the complaints. But I generally enjoyed those films. So, but I think No Way Home is the best of them three because it's a classic callback to old school Peter, and these Peters provide him lessons. Um, which, by the way, spoilers. But if you haven't seen No Way Home by now, it's like it's been a year and a half. Everybody, come on, get it together.
exactly. 100%.
It's been a
And
year and a half.
yeah, it's just a great movie. And as much as like I do like Tom Holland as Spider-Man, like he's very comic book accurate in terms of actual age and like look and whatnot. I
Mhm.
still think the best Spider-Man is definitely Tobey Maguire. Sorry, hands down.
I've got a special place, man. I mean, I was watching the first Spider-Man a few weeks ago, and I forgot how good that movie is. You know what I mean? It's like it's just so well done and like so well written, and it's impactful and like oh man. And I mean, yeah, Toby's like kind of like got that puppy dog look, but like he makes it work he's a good Peter, and that makes him a pretty good Spider-Man. Like he's good at playing the character, and he's got this. It's what I love about those stories too is it makes clear like divisions of like he's got that tear. He's got those two lives. He leads his responsibilities as Peter Parker and to be responsible to everyone around him, and then he has responsibilities as Spider-Man to take care of the community. You know what I mean? And it's like it's crazy.
Which I think Andrew Garfield definitely perfected. He probably saw Tobey Maguire's work and thought, "Oh, I can like work on that and like hone it to a different level." Where he balances the perfect like Peter Parker life, where he's like shy, socially kind of like you know mid person, because
Hmm.
as you would be in that world. But when he's in the Spider-Man costume and actually out there as Spider-Man, he has like a level of confidence and pizzazz that like you
And
feel
swagger, yeah.
that you usually feel in the character. He has fun in his fights sometimes,
Yeah,
Makes
he's
quips.
throwing quips and stuff, and I think Tom Holland bridges that because I think like Tobey Maguire makes the best Peter Parker, Andrew Garfield makes the best Spider-Man, but Tom Holland is a good combination of both. Like he's a fun Spider-Man who makes quips, and he's a good Peter Parker who's like awkward and foolish and stumbly, and it's and I mean like I think he was like really peaked in like that short period he had during Civil War. That was sweet, dude. I love how they introduced him. I remember everyone shitting their pants when he was in the trailer, dude.
I remember that too, man. I was one of those people, man.
I was one of those people, dude. I was like, whoa, oh, and the suit looks great, and like, oh, it's so much fun.
I still have a little bit
Um,
of poop in my underwear from that day.
from that day in 2016.
Exactly, it's hanging on my wall like James Jonah Jameson when he hung the Spider-Man costume up there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Just the shit stained underwear. It makes the room smell. You gotta burn incense all the time. Um,
No, it's like
uh,
airtight sealed picture frame. It's fine.
oh yeah, there you go. It even keeps the smell.
Yeah, but
That
as soon
Spider-Man
as I
smell.
crack open the picture frame, it like I'm committing a war crime in this room.
Yeah, for real. In the 2 mile radius, you're doing that. You know what I mean? Like, melt paint with that shit.
It's like 1915, and it's the trenches, man.
I'm like, yeah, dude, your fucking underwear looks like the trenches.
Oh my god, those
It
Germans
smells
are
like
fucking around.
yeah, it smells like it too. They used to shit on the. They used to have like they didn't have toilets right in the trenches, so they would all just like make a post, sit on that post, and then just shit right in front of their homies.
Yeah. Or God forbid they're doing it in their pants, making a whole Jackson Pollock in their rear, on the battlefield.
Yeah, no, that's not good, man. That
No.
gives you rashes and stuff, and that gives you like trench ass, and so it's
Trench ass. Oh my
well, yeah,
god.
it's trench foot, get trench ass. You know what I mean?
Which way, Western man? Trench foot or trench ass?
I bet the gay guys got trench ass.
Oh, fucking hell.
I can make that joke. I'm bi, but
No, they probably kept that shit clean for their partner. I mean, shit.
yeah, you kind of gotta.
Yeah.
But it's been about an hour here. What do you say we clock out for this?
I'd say it's a good time after talking about gay sex and World War One.
Yeah, war crimes and gay sex. Be gay and do crimes, just not war crimes.
Pound your homie's ass. Don't break the Geneva Convention.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Break your homies, break your homies back. Not, not the Geneva Convention.
Oh my god.
That is the message of today's episode of the 9 to 5 Boys. We are clogging out.
Clogging out, baby.